This is the Reds POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Cincinnati Reds. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good evening, Reds fans, and welcome to another edition of the POSTCAST, brought by Locked On Reds and the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Tim Daniel, lifelong Reds fan of my second season here at Locked On, covering the team. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today as we discuss the Cincinnati Reds' 9-4 loss to the Pittsburgh Pirates. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about the fact that Edwin Arroyo is starting to prove his value to the team. Brady Singer kind of stunk today. And even though they did not complete the sweep today, I feel like this weekend series was a step forward for the team. All of that and a whole lot more. Let's go ahead and let's get started.
This is what you'll be talking about.
So they lost today, and that's a little disappointing. I was fully expecting a sweep today, considering Mitch Keller had not pitched really well of late for the Pirates. Brady Singer had pitched fairly well of late for the Reds. The way their offense had played in this series has been really, really good, honestly. And today they just couldn't get the job done. They put themselves behind the 8-ball early. Brady Singer gives up early runs, and so it's hard to catch up to those. But they do, right? They make it a game. It's a tie game again. Then they go down 5-4, and they go to rain delay, and they come back, and the Pirates just add 4 runs again. So that part's frustrating. And the other part that's really frustrating is that the Pirates were asking the Reds to win this game. 3 times they had the bases loaded, and the Reds got out of the jam, and they still ended up losing by 5 runs today. That's frustrating, and that's disappointing. But what I will say is I think this was a good weekend for the team. I think they played fairly well, minus a couple guys here and there, minus Brady Singer being terrible today. Even Chase Burns wasn't his best self yesterday, but they still found a way to pitch pretty well and get 10 strikeouts. The bullpen today I thought was okay up till Pierce Johnson coming in and just kind of having a rough outing. That's disappointing, but the walks obviously take a part in that. But you take 2 out of 3 from division foe where you've struggled completely all year in the division. You take those. Would have loved to see a sweep, obviously, professionally and personally. We know how I feel about that team over there in the other dugout, but it just wasn't meant to be. But I'm happy with the weekend. I'm happy that they got some wins, especially because you know how tough it is for them to get wins against the Brewers. So you know that there's a possibility they're going to struggle in that series because it's a 4-game set on the road. And the getaway day is kind of later in the day than normal. So, and you also got Mizorowski in one of these days going against Chase Burns. I can't wait for that. So yeah, it's going to be a tough series, but I'm glad that they got a couple here before they head out to Milwaukee and got to wrap up and go through that series as well. So we'll see. A couple things I do want to kind of talk about here. I don't understand why Francona went to Garcia and McCambley when it's a 1-run game. Those guys combined for 6 walks in an inning and 2/3 pitch. And somehow, once again, they got out of it. Miracles. Sal made a really, really good play. That was awesome. And so we're kind of at this point here where I don't understand why they're going to those guys. And I get it. Like, you want to use they're your bigger guys for later in the game in the sense of Brock Burke, Pierce Johnson, Caleb Ferguson, so on and so forth. But I can't fully justify going to those 2 guys in a 1-run game against a divisional foe when you need every win you can get. But such is life. We move on. We figure out how we do going forward, and we see what we can do from there. Let's talk a little bit about Brady Singer today, shall we?
Uh-oh, somebody messed up, and it's time to let them know with who fudged up.
At the close of the postcast yesterday, remember when I said, man, Brady Singer's pitched really well of late. He heard what I said, and he had the opposite of what Jeff and Steve do. Jeff and Steve talk bad about a guy, and then he has a really good series. I was like, hey, Brady Singer, he's coming around. He's not coming around. He stunk today. And stunk is putting it nicely, because someone's going to come in and be like, well, he got out of these bases loaded jams. Sure, but he gave up 5 runs today in 4 1/3. You cannot have that right now. With the way that they're playing in these division games, the way the bullpen is the bullpen, Chase Burns wasn't necessarily his best self yesterday. He still won 6 innings. Obviously, Chase Burns is a significantly better pitcher than Brady Singer. I get that. But they need every inning they can get from their starters, and they need to be able, to give themselves chances to win games. And when Singer left the game, let's see, it was the 5th. It was 4-4, and then he gives up that run to make it 5-4. Again, yeah, there was only a 1-run game when he left, but he did not set them up to win today. And that's the part where it's just so like, what can we do here, man? How can we get you to get with the program? Because he also knows that he's a guy that if he was pitching better, teams are going to be curious about. What if he wants to go be in a playoff chase if the Reds just don't get out of this hole we suspect they won't get out of? You're going to go show him an outing like that? Starting pitching is always a premium at the trade deadline. And you put that performance on paper, that's what you want people to see is you let the Buccos beat you around. I get it. It's in PNC Park. It's very similar to GABP as far as like balls flying out of there. I understand all of that. But if you're him, and he's a competitor, he knows that he was really disappointing today. And he knows that it's been a really disappointing year. We're in June, the end of June, July's next week, and he's sporting a 5.12. Come on, man. Like, enough's enough. I understand this year's probably not going anywhere. I understand this team's not going to the playoffs. I understand there's no magical wild card run more than likely. But they can't have days like that. And I get it. You can tell me it was only one bad inning or so. He was dancing out of danger this whole game. So, yeah. I'm discouraged by Brady Singer's performance today. I'm discouraged by what we've seen from him the majority of the season. He's had some good starts here and there, sure, but total package has just not been good enough for this team. So we kind of go on and we move forward from there, and we're going to have some more fun the rest of the way on the show today. And one thing particular I'm going to talk about is that Edwin Arroyo is starting to prove his worth. Let's talk about Edwin Arroyo and more right after this. But first, we're going to talk to you about our good friends over at Amazon. A big thank you to them for this limited break. This back-to-school season, spend less on your kids with Amazon. We all know how crazy back-to-school shopping experiences can be. It starts with a few items, then suddenly you're shopping for supplies, clothes, lunch gear, tech, and about 10 other things you didn't see coming. It adds up fast. When you buy clothes for back to school, then your kid has a growth spurt 2 weeks later, and you're right back to where you started. Sometimes it genuinely feels like they're going faster than your budget can keep up. When you're buying supplies and find yourself asking how a calculator became one of the more expensive items in the cart. I wasn't expecting math to start costing me before school even began. It feels like there's a life lesson there in somewhere, and I'm trying to figure something out. When your kid's definition of need for back to school shopping is a lot different than your definition of need, somehow the list keeps getting longer every time they look at it. Explaining the need versus want conundrum this time of year has become an annual part of the process. So remember, with Amazon's low back-to-school prices, just spend less on your kids because every dollar you don't spend on them is a dollar you haven't spent on them. Shop back to school at Amazon and spend less on your kids. Want to give a shout out to our everydayers here on the Postcast. Thank you for spending some time with me on this disappointing Sunday, right? The Reds do lose 9-4 to the Pittsburgh Pirates in a game that they had their chances to win. It's disappointing, and you want to see the team kind of go out there and put more competitive edge out there. But if you are an everydayer here with us each and every day at Locked On Reds, whether it's me after every game or Jeff Carr and Stephen Offenbaker Monday through Friday on the Mothership Show, go ahead and step up your everydayer game with us here. You get access to ad-free episodes of all your favorite Locked On shows, such as Locked On Bengals with Jake and Joe. Maybe you like me over there at Locked On Cavs with Danny and Chastity and crew. So you like, I don't know, Locked On Pacers with Tony East. There's a lot of great Locked On shows you can go to as well. We also get access to our Discord chat where you can join rooms for all of your favorite teams and chat with fans just like yourself. Let's talk about Edwin Arroyo here for a second, because I feel like even though he had an error today, he's really come on of late. He's been hitting extremely well. The bottom of the order seems like it's where he's most comfortable. And today he has 2 more hits. He has an RBI today. I just feel like what he's bringing to this team of late has been so nice to see. I think he's going to get significantly better defensively as time goes on. I think that he's a guy who's played a lot of shortstop. He's only going to play second base. I know some buffoon will come in here and be like, there's not much difference between the two. There is. Last 7 games, he's hitting .409 with a .458 on base. Yeah, he's not good and slugging homers like he was in AAA. But the Reds don't necessarily need him to do that. They just need a guy at the bottom of the order to get on base when they flip the order over. And he's doing that for this team. I think this is a good spot for him. And the whole scenario of Arroyo versus McLean, I know there's a lot of conversation right now around Matt McLean playing center field. I'm not super comfortable with that conversation. I don't think that's a route I would go. But what they're getting from Arroyo right now, I think he's definitely earned his keeps. I think he's earned the right to stay up here, whenever the next healthy hitter, when the next guy comes off the IL. That shows my door was open. My bad. But I think Arroyo he's a Red. I don't think he's a Louisville bat. He's a Red. By the way, did you guys see that there's 5 guys getting called up from Dayton to Chattanooga today? That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But really, really nice to see. Oh, also, if you weren't paying attention, Hunter Greene had his second rehab outing today, and he was awesome. Went 6 1/3, shutout ball. So good vibes only. Hunter Greene should be coming back soon to the team. And yeah, if you're looking at Brady Singer, and you're like, I don't know, man, he might be coming for me. But nah, I think it's considered. We'll see this. We'll see as this goes here. So the Elly leadoff thing is gone 2 days now, and I know that you're going to look at today and go 1 for 4. I thought he had really good at bats. I thought he was really solid today. He reaches on an error on one of those outs, so I'm not going to count that against him. Has a leadoff single. I'm just going to bring back a banner. I haven't used it in a while this year, so if you guys don't mind, yeah, we're bringing it back. It's a team that struggles to score runs. Run them. First inning, JJ Bleday grounds to a double play. Elly's at first. It's not Austin Hayes bad like it was last year by any stretch of the matter, but they need to find ways to create more runs, and their best chance is being aggressive on the base path. And I'm not saying go back to David Bell days when you're just run freely and do whatever you want. No, but we know he's capable of stealing bases. We know he's capable of being a disruptor on the base path. It's the route that makes the most sense for him. And yeah, Beth says it here. I like Elly batting first. No stress to be a hero. I agree. I love Elly batting first. If Elly shines here, it might be the closest thing we've ever seen to Ricky Henderson, especially as a switch hitter. Well, Ricky was a right-handed hitter. That you get what I'm saying. But I feel like now this is going to be the best spot for him. It's the best spot for the team. It gives him more chances at bats during the day. That's what they need. And, I like Sal Stewart coming up the second in the order. I like JJ Bleday hitting third. I feel like the lineup's where that needs to be right now. I think Noelvi Marte is going to be fine. I can't give up on him. I know maybe I should, but had a couple okay at bats today. The walk was really nice. I know he struck out today, but didn't look super out of place in right field for once. So that's good news as well. But you take these. Also, TJ Friedl's back in our lives. And I can't believe that's the best option they have. I get the 40-man scenario. I get he's got major league experience. I just think that at some point, you know who he is. He's not going to help your team win. And today, I get it. He went 0 for 4. He put the ball in play all 4 times. That's great. But I can't come on here and be like, hoorah, TJ Friedl's back. Because that's not a thing. Also, hope to God that Gino's okay because he took one. That I'm not going to feed into it was intentional or not intentional. That's not fair. Especially because I'm Pittsburgh's favorite podcaster already. But I do think that it was unnecessary, whether it was intentional or not. You could have put that pitch in a better place. Now I'm sure that someone will come in here and say it's this or that or whatever. I'm not trying to get into that stuff. But they didn't need to do that. And I know Cowboys speculated on it. I don't want to add more grease to the fire, but I feel like that was a little bit of an unnecessary pitch. But you know what? Such is life. Give the Pirates the credit. They didn't get swept. They played really well today. They earned the right to win the game. So now we just move on. The Reds do lose today to the Pittsburgh Pirates 9-4. The Pirates have 9 runs on 11 hits and an error. The Reds have 4 runs on 8 hits and an error. Mitch Keller's your winner. He is now 6-5 with a 487. Brady Singer, your loser, now 3-7 with a 512. And now the Reds head to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where things have been so great over the past few years, right? As they have it being a 4-game set with the Brew Crew. Tomorrow, first pitch is at 7:40. Nick Lodolo will take the hill for the Reds. He is 2-2 with a 559. He'll be going against, as my phone takes its sweet time loading up. My apologies to this gentleman. Robert Gasser, who's 1-3 with a 4.50 ERA. So first pitch will be at 7:40. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, probably about 10 o'clock or so. Everyone, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Sorry the Reds didn't get a win, but we'll be back to see if we can get one tomorrow. Have a good night. I'm Tim Daniel. Go Red Legs. And I will see you tomorrow.